Have you ever felt like you were stuck in a relationship? And I don't even mean like a bad relationship, just off.
Off. Yeah.
Yeah, like you're always the one reaching out. You're always the one making compromises. You're always the one, you know. And today we're going to untangle that feeling because today's deep dive is all about one-sided love.
Oh,
And trust me, these insights that we're going to get into today from this text, they're sharp.
really sharp.
They really are.
Okay.
So have you ever felt that, like just that offness in a relationship?
Totally. It's so common. And I think what's interesting is that we don't always identify it as a problem right away.
Right.
You know, you think, oh, every relationship has its ups and downs, but this is different.
Yes.
This is about a fundamental imbalance in the giving and receiving.
Exactly. And I think this text that we're looking at today
Yeah.
really kind of spells it out.
Right.
It doesn't offer like tips to fix the other person.
Exactly. It's not a self-help guide for how to get someone to love you back.
Right. It's more like
It's a wake-up call.
it's a wake-up call.
It's saying, hey, this isn't how it's supposed to be.
Yes.
You know, you deserve more than one-sided love.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, it talks about feeling perpetually unfulfilled.
Yes.
Um
Spot on. Right.
yes, your heart searching for more. Like, ouch.
Yeah. I mean, who wants to live like that?
Yeah.
Constantly yearning for something that's not being reciprocated.
And you know, it made me think like,
Yeah.
why do we stay? Like, why do we stay in these situations?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
It is.
And this text delves into that. And one of the things that it highlights, which I thought was really insightful, is the guilt factor.
Oh, the guilt.
Oh my gosh, the guilt.
Yeah.
The feeling of, oh, I've invested so much time, or they've been through so much, or I don't want to hurt them.
Right.
And so we end up staying, not because it's good for us, but because we feel obligated.
Yeah. And so, okay, let's say you're listening to this right now
Right.
and you're like, oh my gosh, this is me. Like, this is totally me.
Yeah.
What do you do? Like, how do you even begin to untangle from this?
Well, the first step is acknowledging it. You have to be honest with yourself and say, you know what, this isn't a balanced, healthy relationship.
Okay.
And then, this is where it gets really important, you have to start challenging those internal narratives that keep you stuck.
Ooh. Tell me more about that. Yeah.
So often we have these stories we tell ourselves, right? Like,
Right.
I'm not worthy of love, or I'll never find anyone better, or it's my fault they're not giving me what I need.
Yeah.
But those are just stories. They're not necessarily true.
Right.
And once you start questioning them, you can start to dismantle them.
Okay, so you're challenging the stories. Then what?
Then it's about setting boundaries. And this can be really hard, especially if you're used to being the giver in the relationship. But it's about learning to say no sometimes, to prioritize your own needs, to not always be the one who's bending over backwards.
That makes me think, is this just romantic relationships?
Ooh, that's such a good point.
Or are we talking like friendships, family, work?
100%. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
How many times have you had that friend who you're always the one reaching out to?
All the time.
Yeah. Or that family member who's constantly taking but never giving.
Yeah.
It's the same dynamic, just playing out in different areas of our lives.
It's so true.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that pattern.
Yeah. Do you have any like specific examples where you've seen this? Like with a friend or something?
Oh, totally. I remember like back in college,
Oh, tell me.
I was really good friends with this girl and we did everything together, or so I thought. Like, I was always the one planning our outings, I was always the one buying her birthday presents, and she was always there. But like passively there.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Yeah, it's that like they're present, but they're not fully there.
Right.
And it took me a while, but I eventually realized that this friendship was completely one-sided.
Wow. And then what did you do?
It was tough, but I had to pull back. I stopped inviting her to things. I stopped going out of my way for her. And you know what?
What?
She didn't even notice.
Oh.
And that's when it really hit me. Like, I was so busy pouring energy into this friendship that wasn't being reciprocated, and it was draining me.
It's so draining.
It is, and it's not selfish to want your relationships to be a two-way street.
Right. So what's the takeaway then for people? What's like the one thing they should remember from our deep dive today?
Choose yourself. Choose relationships where your needs are valued, where you feel respected, where you feel loved and appreciated for who you are, not for what you can do for someone else.
That's so powerful.
Because you deserve it.
And here's the thing though that I keep thinking about. Like as we talk about this, I'm like, yeah, you deserve to have somebody love you the way you need to be loved. But like, are we showing up in our relationships that way too?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You know? Just something to think about.
It's a two-way street for sure.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive.
Okay.
But this is a conversation I think we could keep having.
Totally.
Yeah,
There's so much more to say.
so much more. But until next time, thanks for listening.